Uh, I do have questions, and I'm going to start with those, folks, because I think that these are the kind of the top questions that people will want to ask. So I'm just going to dive right in. Question number one. This is a tough one, and please don't think that I'm being sarcastic when I say this, but listen to the question. It is Egypt safe for travelers right now? And I will respond instantly by saying, yes, of course it is. Absolutely. There's no reason to feel insecure about traveling to Egypt right now. But if you're invested in the social media as I am, you will see that there are foreign countries saying, don't go to the United States of America, stay away. Because this country has become so crime-ridden and people are just being shot in the face 4 times and killed. And then we all get lied to. I can guarantee you one thing. That did not happen in Egypt today. Nobody was just randomly shot in Egypt today. Now, that's also a point of the religion I want to point out. Islam says, thou shalt not kill. So does the 10 Commandments, thou shalt not kill. However, the Quran does say you can protect yourself. In other words, if someone is attacking you with a knife, you're at absolute liberty to attack back, to fight for your life. With that said, Egyptians don't just walk around knifing one another, shooting one another, robbing one another, stealing from one another, cheating one another, being unkind to one another. So, yes, I will endorse with my entire being that Egypt is a safe destination to travel to right now. I can also say that because I told you that I do travel planning for a career, and travelers who travel with my company are dealt with by me personally. After that, they're handed to my Egyptian team. And my Egyptian team then puts their arms around them and takes care of them from that moment on. If in the very, very unlikely event there is an issue of any type that would otherwise endanger one of my travelers, my team like that know that they will just whisk in, pick you up, whisk you out, and get you home or to a safe place. And the reason I know they do that is because it's my instruction and it's my name on the line, and I'm not going to have anybody injured on my watch. But the reason that I know that particularly is this. Some while back, I don't know, a couple of years back, there was a situation where there had been a bomb explosion somewhere in Cairo. And at that very time, I had a mother, father, and 2 kids on the ground in Cairo. It wasn't a big incident. It wasn't warfare. But there was an explosion. And my immediate instinct when I heard it, my team picked up the phone and said, there's been an incident. We're picking them up. We're evacuating them. I phoned them immediately and I said, here's what's happened. This is what we're going to do. And believe it or not, their response was, leave us alone. No, don't do anything. We're having a good time. If there was an explosion that was on that side of town, it had nothing to do with us. We're not even in any danger whatsoever. So we left them because it was their request. And they came back and they said to me, thank you for taking care of us and being there to assist us if we needed you, but we didn't. And your team on the ground there was so amazing that they took care of us and gave us all the love in the world we needed. So with that said, I can always say, and I'll never go back on this, Egypt is a safe destination to visit. It has been before, it is in the present, and it will be in the future. The only bump in the road was the Arab Spring. Well, that came and that went, and it's done. So, in answer, summary to that question, is Egypt safe for travelers right now? Yes, it absolutely is. Now, what I want to do is touch on the following. Some places you can travel to. Let's assume you travel to London, yeah? If you travel to London, you can just hop online, buy yourself an airline ticket, go to an Airbnb, get a transfer to your Airbnb from the airport of arrival, Gatwick or Heathrow, whatever the case may be, and you can plan your own journey. Egypt is not one of those places. And I don't mean to put the fear of God in you, but it is not one of those places. So if you are a DIY traveler, a do-it-yourself traveler, let me explain the following to you. A classic trip to Egypt would mean your flight to Cairo, which is the international gateway, one of the international gateways. Then you would do Lower Egypt, which is where Cairo is. Then you'd go to Upper Egypt, which is between Luxor and Aswan. And then at that point, you may do a cruise on the Nile. Once you've done, maybe you will go to Hurghada, or to a desert oasis, or you may go to Alexandria. I highly recommend that. If you do this on your own, you are going to have somebody who's doing your airline ticket, somebody who's booking your transfer to pick you up at the airport and drive you to your hotel or your Airbnb, somebody to check you into your Airbnb, or you go ahead and do it yourself, somebody to different company that you've taken care of to do your tours of the city of Cairo. You've relied on yourself to get back to the airport, to fly to Luxor, to get your hotel, to get to the cruise, to get to Aswan, to get to Abu Simbel. And I'm going on here, but I'm going on because the reason, if you do that on your own, and you won't save much money, if anything. Bear this one golden rule in mind. If somebody is not there to meet you at the airport to take you to your Airbnb or your hotel or to your onward, wherever the case you're going, nobody's going to give a damn. The airline got you to Cairo. The Airbnb is waiting for you. The transfer company blew it. They weren't there to pick you up. Nobody gives a damn. And you don't have a leg to stand on, because you cannot blame anyone for arrangements that you made yourself and something goes wrong. That's why I always say, again, I said this is not a sales pitch, and it's not. So don't misunderstand me. But I am going to say, go to your travel agent, or to a certified travel agent, or to a certified expert in selling Egypt as a destination, who has at least been there once or twice, who has got contacts that they can pick up the phone and say, hey, party so-and-so problem, sort them out, take care of them. Otherwise, you're on your own. And if you are on your own in Egypt, suddenly everybody's a taxi driver, everybody's a tour operator, everybody's an Egyptologist. Everybody can get you to your hotel. My sister's hotel is better than this hotel, and I can get you a discount, and you can this and that and the next thing. You will come back, and you will, like so many people I see do online, you will write a godforsakenly horrific "Don't go to Egypt" report. And that's very unfair, and it's very wrong of you. So, my recommendation is find yourself a travel agent, someone who handles travel reservations. If you need me to recommend someone, contact me. I'm at Egypt Tourism USA, and exactly as you say it is how you type it in. It's EgyptTourismUSA.com. You can connect with me that way, and I'd be very happy to help you or guide you. A question that came up, I find this very interesting because of me. Now, when I first went to Egypt, the year was 1991. The season was kind of midsummer, which is low season. If you're listening from the United States, if you're with me from the United States, you'll understand what I say when I tell you that Miami and Florida is in its high season in November, December, January, February, and it's in its low season in the summer months. You understand that idea? Well, that's exactly how Egypt works. And I went in the summer. I was a young guy. Nothing was going to stop me. All I ever wanted to do was ever go to Egypt. And finally, I was there. If I were to go now, I'm not young anymore. You can see that. I don't think there's any filter on this that makes me look like I'm in my 20s. If there is, I'm not. But for older travelers, it is a doable destination, very definitely, but slow travel is the new luxury. Remember that phrase. Slow travel is the new luxury. Get or appoint a travel planner who can slowly walk you through what you should do on each day, and where you should cut it off and say, that's enough for one day. I'm going to go back to my hotel, go to the spa, go to the pool, have a lovely meal out. That would be the best of all ways for travelers, for older travelers, seniors like me. I'm a senior now, to travel. And if you get a proper travel planner who can do that for you, you will have a very successful trip. You really and truly will. If you don't get someone who knows what they're doing, you might as well just put your first foot into the depth of hell, because it will be a miserable, overwhelming, just a horrible journey. That's all I can say. A month of today, in fact, I just arrived back from Istanbul. And while I've been to that city many times, I would plan my own itinerary and say, okay, today I'm going to get up and I'm going to go here, there, 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 there. And regrettably, I would get up and go there, 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 and then say, I need a little downtime. I'm going to go back and take a nap. I'll get up for dinner. I'll do a little night action. And then I'll go to bed. So you cannot do it all in a day. Don't even think you can. That's ludicrous. And that comes from an old guy like me. I'm telling it just like it is. So is Egypt suitable for older travelers? Oh, absolutely. But you need to be structured. And you need someone with experience to structure the trip perfectly for you. So like, we've all got different fingerprints. What I like, you may think, oh, no, I don't want to do that. Then we'll adapt an itinerary for you. I'll tell you where, how, why, and when. And that way it creates a great success for you for your journey. I'm going to move on to the next question now. The next question is kind of in tandem with that one. Is Egypt suitable for older travelers? Yes, it is, properly structured. How physically demanding is Egypt? It is physically demanding if it's not planned properly. I see a lot of people go to Luxor and they say, okay, we're going to get up in the morning and we're going to do a balloon flight over the West Bank. We're going to come down, we're going to go to the Temple of Hatshepsut. We're going to go to the Valley of the Kings and pop into 2 or 3 tombs. Then we'll go to the Valley of the Queens. We'll do a few tombs there. Then we're going to go back to the East Bank and we're going to see the Temple of Karnak and the Temple of Luxor. And no, you're just actually being stupid. Yeah, seriously. You cannot do all of that in a day. You seriously cannot. You think you can, but you can't. Remember this. The tombs of the pharaohs, the tombs of the kings and the tombs of the queens are deep underground. And you're going to go down and down and down and down and down. And it's all exciting because you're seeing all of the hieroglyphs along the way and you've got something to hold on to and it's well lit and you can feel the closeness getting closer and closer and closer to you. And finally, boom, there you are in the burial chamber. And then you turn around and you look up there, way the hell up there, and there, about this size, like that, is the entrance, which is also the exit. And you have to get yourself from where you are all the way up there. Do it once, it's an adventure. Do it twice, it's okay, we made it. Do it the third time is no, I don't want to do this I've seen enough. I've really seen enough. And so when I plan trips for travelers, I always say break it up, spend time in Luxor, because there's so much to see in Luxor on the East Bank, on the West Bank, and further north in Dendera and in Abydos. And those are 2 temples you really shouldn't miss. They're amazing. And they never really are on the tourist route. Because once you're in Luxor, everything sort of heads south to further Upper Egypt and Nubia. So I would recommend a couple of nights there. Otherwise, it's physically demanding and you're just going to have a miserable time. Unless you take a Nile cruise. And we'll talk about that in a moment. This question I love. What surprises people most about Egypt? Any idea? Any thought? What do you think it might be that would surprise you the most about? You'll see the pyramids, you'll see the new Grand Egyptian Museum, you'll see the treasures of King Tutankhamun, you'll go on a Nile cruise, you'll see Luxor, you'll see Aswan, you'll see the unfinished obelisk, you will see the Temple of Abu Simbel down on Lake Nasser. You may go to Hurghada on the coast, on the Red Sea, and do a little bit of diving and snorkeling. You may go up to Alexandria. You'll do all of that. And all of that is fabulous. There's nothing that isn't amazing. But the question that I was posed, which is, let me see it again, what surprises people the most about Egypt? The people. It's just simple. The people. The people are fantastic. Egyptians are the most warm, loving, caring people that I know. They truly are. If you have any problem anywhere in Egypt, your problem becomes everybody's problem. Everybody is there to help you. I know this from years of experience. I know this because I have been stuck in situations that I didn't quite know how to navigate myself, and it became everybody's problem. Everybody helped me until they were 100% sure that I was okay, well taken care of, hydrated, fed, and ready to move on with my journey. That is from personal experience. So it's the people that really surprises visitors coming into Egypt the most. And then the food. Oh man, the food, the tasty, the flavors. I'm not even going to describe them. I'm just going to say, if you go to Egypt, if you go to Cairo and you go to a Pizza Hut, what is wrong with you? If you go to Cairo and you go to a McDonald's, what is wrong with you? If you go to Cairo and you go to a Starbucks, what are you thinking? What is wrong with you? In Khalil Khalili, which is the old Egyptian bazaar in Cairo, there is a tea slash coffee house called El Fishawis, which has been there since the 1800s. And it's one of the most charming, interactive, sit down and have a cup of tea, have a cup of coffee, talk to local people around you, and just enjoy every single moment of being with local Egyptian people and not a whole bunch of tourists. So what surprises people about Egypt the most is Egyptians and how they react to visitors. Which brings to the next question. I'm not even going to answer that because I just have. How do Egyptians treat visitors? Well, if you haven't got it by now, try and just imagine you will be overwhelmed with love. You will be overwhelmed with kindness and caring and respect, and it's just a remarkable destination. Apart from all of that, Egyptians are so proud of their country. They will walk 20 miles out of the way to show you something that they're so proud of. So that's how they treat incoming visitors. It is, really is. Apart from that, if you want to do yourself a really intense, now when I say this, I mean a really intense trip to see Egypt. Let's assume this is your one and only, and you're never going to go back. Here's what I did recently for some clients of mine, some passengers, travelers. They flew into Cairo and they connected immediately from Cairo International Airport straight down to Luxor. And they spent 3 nights in Luxor. Well, night one to get over the long distance flying and all of that nonsense. Full day sightseeing. So 2 full days. And I'm talking about people in their late 60s, early 70s here. So they could take it slow. They could pace it. They could enjoy walking up to the temple of Hatshepsut. They could enjoy going down into a tomb. They could enjoy going up in a balloon. They enjoyed all of those things without feeling the necessity of rushing. From there, I took them to a place called Esna. And I popped them onto a Nile cruise, not on a traditional boat, not on a traditional sailing vessel, but on what is called a dahabeah. Here's the difference. A boat is a boat is a boat. They can take 50, 60, 70, 80 passengers at a time. Dahabeah is a wooden vessel, sail driven. So it just sails very quietly down the Nile. No engine, no vibration. Best part of all is that it only accommodates maximum, some of them 20 passengers. So imagine, will you, that you are a party of two. It can only take it's take 18 more passengers. Some even less, 16 to 14. So you become very intimately involved with the other guests on board. And that's a wonderful way just to enjoy the downtime on the Nile, watching life go by. Another thing that I think that is really important to point out about dahabeahs, they do not have license to dock on the east side of the River Nile. They only have license to dock on the west. On the east is more touristy, so to speak. The west is more rural. So now you're sitting on this wooden sail-driven vessel, seeing real, authentic Egyptian life at play. Farms, kids come running down to the river, waving and screaming and shouting and having just expelling such amazing love. You will see all of the temples on the Nile route from Luxor to Aswan on a dahabeah just as much as you will on a normal cruise boat. I don't want to say normal cruise boat, because dahabeahs are quite normal too. On a regular 80-passenger cruise boat. I think you get the idea. Dahabeahs can dock at little islands on the Nile River, which gives you a totally different experience, a totally different view of Egyptian life. And if you consider yourself to be a traveler, not a tourist or not an influencer, then that's the way to go. Seriously, a dahabeah. And I bet you're wondering, so well, now what if there's no wind? Well, Egyptians know how to make a plan. They'll take a little motorboat way up there ahead of you, and they'll put a rope onto the dahabeah, and they'll pull you along. And you wouldn't even know you're being pulled along by a motorboat because it's way in the distance. Still, you feel no vibration, the sails are up, and it just feels like you're gliding along the Nile. It truly is a wonderful experience, people. In my opinion, both personally and professionally, it's the only way to go. So now, one of the questions here was to me said, what is it really like to cruise the Nile? I waited until now to get to that, although it was the second question, because I think I've given you a good enough explanation now what it is like to cruise on the Nile. It is wonderful. And if you consider you have flown, you're on a completely different time zone now. You might have come from the southern hemisphere to the northern hemisphere. You've gone from the western hemisphere to the east, blah, 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 blah. Your body clock's saying, please just give me a break. And most tours now will take you straight into Cairo, most journeys, and say, all right, come on, get up. Got to go and see this, 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 this. And yes, you do. But I always think that going to Luxor first, taking a shower, having a lovely meal, and going to bed on Egyptian time is the best thing you can do for yourself. Because tomorrow morning you can wake up and boom, you're ready to go. And 2 days full of sightseeing, then down to Esna, which we will transfer you to Esna, and then from there take you onward to Aswan. And you know Aswan. You will have seen 100 pictures of Aswan. It's from the old Cataract Hotel with this basin full of Nile basin filled with feluccas, which are those little traditional sailing vessels. It's so picturesque. Once you get off the Dahabia, I'm going to tell you what I did with my group, my four that I was working with. Instead of taking them straight to their hotel property, I said to my team on the ground there, took their luggage away from them, kept it in storage, put them on a flight, and sent them further south by an hour to Abu Simbel. Abu Simbel is where the great temple of Ramses II and his wife, Nefertari, were relocated to. I don't know if you know the story about that, but when Lake Nasser, or when the High Dam Aswan was being created, it was going to block up water into Lake Nasser. And these two really intact temples were going to be flooded and thus never seen again. So UNESCO stepped in and said, no, we have to dismantle those temples and we have to bring them to higher ground. So while they're not in the authentic place that they were when they were first created, they're nonetheless magnificent to see. They truly are. And here's another interesting fact about that. In the temple of Ramses II, one must wonder how sophisticated ancient Egypt was. Because all the way at the back, you walk into the temple and it's this long corridor, and all the way at the back there are four Coptic jars. Jars, not Coptic jars, 4 jars. Twice a year at the equinox, the sun will rise up over Lake Nasser and shine on one face of the jar, and then the next, and the next. Twice a year. One on Ramses's birthday and one on his coronation day. When UNESCO moved these temples to higher ground, they missed it by 1 day. So you believe that the ancient Egyptians had technology that I don't think we even can imagine what they had. So, I think that explains what it is like to cruise the Nile. Now, once you've gone to see Abu Simbel, you'll fly back to Aswan, and then I would recommend go to your hotel, put your feet up at the pool, relax, have a cocktail, have a dinner, and go to bed. Because tomorrow, or actually maybe even tonight, you should go to the Sound and Light tour at the Temple of Philae, which is in the High Dam Aswan. And it's one of the most preserved temples in all of Egypt. Seriously is. It's one of those experiences you can't afford to miss. Now, I'm not one for sound and light shows. They irritate me. Doesn't mean, though, that you don't like them. And so if you do, there are 2 that I recommend you do. And that is in Aswan, the Temple of Philae, and in Luxor, the Temple of Karnak. Temple of Karnak has got large hypostyle hall columns and a big lake, and you just walk through it, which is, wow, mind-blowing. It's really a wonderful experience. So I think that really answers the question, what's it like to cruise on the Nile? Is Egypt suitable for older travelers? Absolutely. Is it physically demanding? Yes, it is, if it's not planned properly. What surprises people most about Egypt? The people, and in my opinion, the food. How do Egyptians treat visitors? Like gold, like absolute gold. They adore them. And they will go out of their way to make sure that you're well taken care of. I've never met an Egyptian person who has not given me his or her absolute best. They're amazing. They honestly are. Um, Here's an interesting one that popped up, and that is Egypt affordable or luxury? It's whatever you want it to be. Yeah? You can go to a 3-star or a 5-star property. You can go to a Airbnb or a bed and breakfast or a Four Seasons. So the balance is completely up to you. What I do when I talk to travelers, and I generally do that by Zoom, so that I can get a feel for my traveler and me, and we can connect in a way, is I said, so what is your budget? And I asked that question right up front, not to say, oh, well, if they're saying they've got $10,000 a pop, well, am I going to just jack this up? No, not at all. If somebody said they have $10,000 per person, I would just say, you're way out of line. That is just way too much money. Do not spend that amount of money. That's just ridiculous. I would say food is not expensive. So if you're eating out in restaurants, it's very cost effective. While you're on a Nile cruise, if that's what you choose to do, your meals are included, all of them. If you're on full day tours, which you should be, with a qualified local English speaking Egyptologist guide, that's what my passengers or travelers get. Then you have breakfast at your hotel property. Let's assume you're staying in Cairo for a few days. You'll have breakfast at the hotel, and then you'll have lunch at a local restaurant in somewhere on your day trip. So you have to take care of dinner. And if you're at a hotel, like, let's say, for example, one of my favorites, the Kempinski Nile, which is on the east bank of the Nile in Cairo, right on the Corniche. The Corniche is like a promenade. You can walk along it day or night with no problems at all. And it's a fabulous hotel with amazing restaurants. So you could take dinner there. Or you could go to actually, you could go to Giza. So in the middle of the Nile, there's an island called Gazira Island, and you cross that, and then once you've crossed that island, you're in what's known as Giza, the governorate of Giza. And there you will find the Four Seasons property, one of the Four Seasons properties. And on the Nile River, they have a boat filled with restaurants with all kinds of cuisine, from Lebanese at the pool deck to Greek to Egyptian to Italian to whatever. So you can go and have a really fine night out dining on the first Nile boat, which is a part of the Four Seasons property in Giza. There's also a Four Seasons in on the opposite side in Cairo, the city of Cairo, so on the East Bank. But you get the understanding. Egypt is affordable. It is really, really affordable. This is an important one. I'm glad somebody asked this. When is the best time of the year to go? Egypt is a year-round destination. Like I explained earlier, when you are in the United States and you go to Miami in summer, you're going in the low season. When you go Miami, when you go to Florida in the summer, you're going in the low season. When you're going to Florida in December, you're going in the high season because of the weather. Same thing in Egypt. The months of June, July, August, September, and even sometimes a smidge into October are so hot. It's brutal. Everybody moves at a slow pace. Days are very isolated and quiet. Nightlife becomes where things happen. And be prepared for heat. Seriously. I thought I was kidding myself when I went, but I didn't care because I was young at the time and I just wanted to see the pyramids. Let's just put it that way. But as I've aged, I've come to realize that I would rather go in the spring or the fall. In the winter, yeah, that's okay as well. The winter months, November, December, January, it does tend to chill off, but bless them. When Egyptians get to 5 degrees, they think they're in a crisis of cold. So if you live in the northeast of the United States of America, you know that if only it were 5 degrees today, it would be wonderful. One time of the year that I must point out is especially important to consider mentally when you are traveling to Egypt. And that is the holy month of Ramadan. Why I point that out is because Muslims need to fast in the day from sunrise to sunset. They may not, nothing may pass their lips. I told you you eat lunches that are full at a local restaurant. A lot of people, and people don't know how to react to the situation when I say, please don't ask your Egyptologist to join you because he or she cannot drink water, have a soda, or put anything into his or her mouth. So please be observant of the religion and don't say, come and have dinner or come and have lunch. Can't be done. Days, it depends on when, but you have to understand that once you have gone working for a whole day, imparting your knowledge to travelers about what this means, what that means, what that hieroglyph says, what this, that, blah, 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 all you want to do is get home as the sun goes down so you can break your fast. Yeah, because by then you're weak and you're tired and you're exhausted and it's been a long day. Now, of course, Muslims are very used to this. They're brought up that way. They are tuned in to the holy month of Ramadan. They know how to pace themselves. But respect that it's a tough time of not eating, not drinking, and I'd like to go home now because, well, yeah, I want to be with my family because now we're going to eat. It's dinner time. And I have to have an early night, and then I have to wake up to pray, and then I have to go back to bed, and then I have to wake up for early morning prayers and have my breakfast, and then I have to go and meet you to take you on your, hi, it's me. And today we're going to see the Grand Egyptian Museum, which has just recently opened, by the way, and worth a while. So, yeah, year round. Summer, prices are going to be less expensive. Winter prices are going to be higher, but understand this. I've had my guys in Cairo come back with a quotation on an itinerary and say, "Oh God, Ken, there's a big problem. The price has increased. The price we gave you has increased." And I would say, okay, by how much? What is the new price for me to give to my traveler? Well, the hotel increased by $3. Okay. I don't think that's going to be a problem. In fact, you know what? I'll just take the $3 and pop it in to the payment system. The value of money, you have to understand the value of money for an Egyptian versus from a Western traveler is vastly different. It really is. What you buy or pay for a Coke or a Pepsi here in the United States, people can't just go and buy crates of Pepsi in Egypt, anywhere in Egypt, actually. Not that it's not that expensive, but it's just people don't have expendable volumes of money. Yeah? I hope that makes sense. So, when is the best time to go? I think you get it by now. Summer's tough. Spring, fall, better. Winter, it can be chilly. I was looking at photographs of myself the other day, standing at the Sphinx. And when I did, I thought, why was I wearing a long sleeve sweater? And I was. Well, then I realized that was in the month of March, end of March into early April. And I thought, oh, that'll do it. Yeah, so, it's not freezing, but it was cool. So that should give you a well-rounded idea of what the cost, what the best time to go is. And before I start answering questions, because I think I see quite a lot coming up, I want to tell you this. What I described to you is Cairo and Upper Egypt, Nile cruise, Abu Simbel, and back. That's a classical tour. You've seen that, then you've seen this much of Egypt. If you can stay longer, here's what drives me nuts in my head. People will say, okay, so we're going to be in Cairo and we're going to be there for X amount of days, so let's do this. And I do agree. I completely agree. And then they say, hey, but we're this close to Alexandria. Why don't we go on a day trip to Alexandria? No, don't do that. Alexandria is the pearl of the Mediterranean. It is one of the most gorgeous cities in the world. It is swept by fabulous ocean breeze, fresh seafood, and then, of course, the attractions. The Roman amphitheater, King Farouk's palace that he stayed at in the summer, or the royalty stayed at in the summer months. The library, if you know that the ancient library of Alexandria, of course, no longer exists, but there's a new library where it once stood. There's the Greek Forum, the Greek amphitheater. There are the catacombs to go into that have been discovered. The lighthouse to go and explore. And if that weren't enough, into the Western Desert, to the west of Alexandria, is where the Battle of El Alamein was fought in the Second World War. In fact, there were two battles. If you have an interest in World War II history, that is the place to go. But it's a whole day trip. Because you will go to the Allied Forces cemeteries, you'll go to the Italian cemeteries, you will go to the German cemeteries, and then there's a tiny museum with some tanks and all kinds of things. Further along is some of the most stunning coastline you will ever see. Turquoise water, see-through water actually, which is so beautiful, heading toward the Libyan border and the town of Marsa Matruh, which is so damn nice. It's it's beautiful to be there at a beach resort and spend a few days. On the other side, you've got the Red Sea coast, and as you know, the Red Sea is probably one of the most iconic spots for diving, for snorkeling, with some of the most amazing species of marine life seen anywhere on the planet. And that would be in Hurghada, Sharm el Sheikh, which is at the tip of the Sinai Peninsula, all the way down to Marsa Alam, all the way up to El Guna. There's just so much. This whole coast is where you can go and do water sports, where you can go and do diving, where you can go and do snorkeling, where you can just relax and do nothing at the pool. Is there. And then there's the Sinai Peninsula on the other side of the Suez Canal. There is Mount Sinai, which is the fabled place where apparently Moses ran up Mount Sinai and spoke to God and got the Ten Commandments. This is what we're led to understand. At the bottom of Mount Sinai is St. Catherine's Monastery. It's the oldest working monastery in the world. And apparently this was built where the burning bush took place. I think it was Moses somebody spoke to the burning bush. Or God spoke through a burning bush and said, do this, that, the next thing. You can see I'm not much of a theologian. But I know about the burning bush, I know about the Ten Commandments. Now, one of a really exhilarating experience is to go to the summit of Mount Sinai for sunrise. But it means you have to get yourself out of bed at 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. And then you drive the distance to Mount Sinai. Then you hop onto the back of a camel and you go up, 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 up until the camels can no more. You get off and you walk the rest of the way up to the summit of Mount Sinai. I don't think that is suitable for senior travelers, by the way. I couldn't do it. I would rather just, I would skip that. But it's doable, and if you are energized and you can and you feel like you want to, that is something you really, really, really should do. The Nile Delta, on the one side you have Alexandria, on the other side you have Port Said. Both cities are worth a visit. Even little Port Said has got no huge value of history. God, I hope I'm saying that right. You just don't see it a lot in itineraries, let's put it that way. And it's one of the ports of call for the big boats that come through Egypt for passengers to go and see the pyramids for the day. Port Said, back to Alexandria, a little to the east is where they discovered the famous Rosetta Stone, which is now, sadly, in the British Museum, and in my opinion, should be given back to Egypt because of Grand Egyptian Museum that has just opened on the Giza Plateau, which, for the first time in history, is displaying all of the artifacts that were discovered in Tutankhamun's tomb. Britain, if you were listening, give the stone back. It belongs in Gem. And Berlin, if you're listening, give that stunning bust of Queen Nefertiti back. Doesn't belong to you. Give it back. Let it be in Gem. Just say. So, that's what I would have to say. I think I've given you a good enough, well-rounded explanation of what there is to do and see in Egypt from a traveler's point of view. There's one last thing I would do. You may recall I said Alexandria, then El Alamein, and then Marsa Matruh. Well, now just south of Marsa Matruh is the Qatar Depression. It's below sea level, yeah? And there is the most amazing oasis called Siwa, Siwa. It's, I don't have words. It's one of those things that I say to you, you know what, really, don't question me about it. Just go. Because it's not something you see. It's something that puts its arms around you and you feel. And you feel it with your heart and your mind and your soul. And that, to me, is one of the best experiences I've ever had in Egypt, was spending days in Siwa. So that's all I have to say. And now, let me see how I can answer. Adam, hi Adam. Adam says, everybody please remember the people of Palestine, and I agree with Adam 100%. Please remember the people of Palestine. They are going through unnecessary hell. And while I don't want to turn this into a Debbie Downer conversation, but that is a conversation we should be having. The people of Palestine don't deserve what they're getting. They really do not. So, Adam, thank you for putting that. Seham, I believe you say, yes, give it back. I think you're probably referring to the Rosetta Stone or the bust of Nefertiti, or both. Yeah, not last year, but the year before, I went to the British Museum. Can you believe it? I've been to London countless times, but I'd never been to the British Museum, but I was determined to go this time to see only one thing, and that was the Rosetta Stone. And I went and I stood next to it with a friend of mine, and I said, film me. And I did a little, hey, England, Your Majesty, whoever you are, give this thing back. Doesn't belong to you. Send it back to Egypt. It was all done in jest and fun. And I mean, I'm not a political activist like that, but I do believe it should go back. Annie says, let Egyptians have their historical artifacts back. And Annie, I agree with you. You know, there's so many bits that are scattered all around the world. The Metropolitan Museum here in New York City has a whole temple that they just shipped in from Egypt that you can go walk in and touch. And then artifacts up the wazoo. I mean, they're just one after the next, after the next, after the next, after the next. That stuff should go back now. And I wouldn't have been so vociferous about that 10 years ago. But now that the Grand Egyptian Museum is open and operational and being visited, I do think, Annie, I agree with you, this stuff needs to go back to Egypt and go on display in GEM, in Grand Egyptian Museum. I completely agree. Maria, I was born in Alexandria. Hi, Maria. It's a gorgeous place, huh? It really is. Do you still live there? Did you migrate on from there? I know that I worked with a girl once whose name was Maria, who was born in Alexandria to Italian parents who immigrated to South Africa and who worked with KLM, Royal Dutch Airlines. I mean, if you can put that all together in your head, my Maria. Okay, you're in New York. You were only 4 years old. So my Maria, I don't know how old she was, but put that together. She was born in Alexandria, her mother and father Italian. They immigrate to South Africa. She works for the Dutch airline KLM and lands up marrying a Swiss guy. So her whole ethnicity, her whole that is, yeah, that is quite a thing. Nadia, yep, they stole everything from everywhere. Egypt, from Iraq, from Syria. I'm afraid so. It's yeah, it really is. It just should be given back. I honestly believe that it should be given back. Um, I don't mean to be rude, but a name that I cannot understand or pronounce. I generally wear glasses, by the way, so I'm squinting at my screen here. Said, do you travel to Egypt often? Uh, Not as often as I'd like to. I go once every 2 years, perhaps. 1 year I went 3 times in 1 year. Because of the nature of my job, because of what I do for a living, and that is plan tours to Egypt for my travelers, it's very important for me to stay up to date. So when I hear of a new hotel opening, or I hear of the Corniche in Cairo that has just undergone a huge, fabulous reservation, opening of Gem, opening of the presidential palace in Cairo for visitors, where El-Sisi works, where his office is, but you can go into the palace, which is almost like Versailles in France, in outside of Paris. So when things like that happen, I go, because it's important for me to be able to tell travelers, go, because I have seen it, and I'm just telling you, spend your time there. Like in NMEC, the Museum of Civilization. Why would you go to Cairo and not go to NMEC? Why? And what is the major feature of NMEC? The royal mummies. The royal mummies were moved out of the Egyptian Museum to NMEC, which is a new structure, and that's only been open for a couple of years now. But the presence of going into the space with the royal mummies is wow. You just look and it's hard to believe. Seti the First. It's ridiculous. That's all I can say. It's just absolutely ridiculously insane to see these artifacts at your fingertips. So yes, I go to. It was always. You ask a question, I will give you an answer, which is long. Yes, I do go often. Omar, Cleopatra Head in Berlin. Omar, it's not Cleopatra. It is Nefertiti, Queen Nefertiti. That's a beautiful piece as well. It really is a fabulous piece. Yeah, I think that should go back. It really should. If you look at just think of the royal or the gold mask of Tutankhamun, and the way it's displayed now. That bust of Nefertiti should be exactly the same way. It should be displayed as something so iconic from ancient Egypt that I do think, Berlin, if you are listening, send it back. How do I get into travel agents or tour? I am Africa, but I live in California. Are you meaning how do you get to become a travel agent? Or how do you find a travel agent who can assist you with a trip to Egypt? Well, whatever it is, go to EgyptTourismUSA.com. Exactly as it sounds. EgyptTourismUSA.com. And send a message and just say, attention, Ken. That's me. And explain what you mean by that, and I'd be very happy to help you. and show you and guide you and tell you where to go and what to expect. I love traveling. So do I. It's amazing. I mean, when I think of how blessed we are to be able to just go from one part of the planet to the other and see things that we would, under normal circumstances, not see, but learn different cultures and meet different people that are different from ourselves in so many ways and learn. Doesn't that make us so, I don't know, it just, that's all I've ever done. I started traveling when I was 20, and yeah, that's 5 decades ago. So I'm thankful for every single mile that I have walked, and every single mile that I have flown, and every single place I've been to, and every person I've met. And there are places that I do favor over others, I will be honest. But I don't think there's one place in the world that I could say, wouldn't go back there if you paid me. No, because wherever I've been, I've learned something. So, yeah, I love to travel. I agree with you. I love traveling too. I really did. Somebody said, came across your video. Thank you so much for bringing so much warmth to my heart. You're welcome. You're so welcome. If you want to see some of the things that I've talked about here, in the year 2016, so almost 10 years ago now, Egypt Tourism asked me to come to Egypt and make a movie for television from a travel point of view. So not one of those boring, this is this, and this means this, and that means that, and this one did that, and this is this, blah, blah, blah. Nothing at all like that. It was Cairo, Coptic Cairo, Islamic Cairo, Felucca cruises, Aswan, and so on. It's called The Beauty and Mystery of Africa, I think. The Beauty and Mystery of Africa, or The Beauty and Mystery of Egypt. I will pop it into the notes shortly, and if you can, go to YouTube and have a look for it, because there are two. There's part one and part two. Part one is the classical, and then part two is Alexandria and to the west and into the desert. I think you'll like those. If you've got warmth in your heart now, you may enjoy those when if you look at them, if you see, if I can remember the name of them. How do I become a travel agent? First, you have to obviously have an interest in travel. And then you need to focus on a specific area that you want to become expert in. I have several, and my top destinations are Morocco, Egypt, Jordan, Oman, Turkey, then Kenya and Tanzania safaris with Zanzibar on the coast, and then South Africa, which is my home country, although I'm in New York, South Africa and the southern African countries, which are Namibia, Botswana, and Zimbabwe. That's my field. If you came to me and asked me if I could book a trip for you to Peru, no, I couldn't. And I wouldn't even lead you to believe that I have an ounce of knowledge, other than I know things about it, but I would not, I wouldn't do it. I would send you to an expert. So figure out what you really want to become, a travel agent expert in. Learn everything you can about that particular place or that destination. Visit it if you can. And then just send out resumes. If you get onto LinkedIn and you put a profile up on LinkedIn, they're always looking for travel agents. It depends where you are located in the world, but they're always looking for travel agents to train, to bring on board, and to help generate income for both the travel agent and the for the company and for the travel agent. I hope that helps. Send me an email, egypttourismusa.com. Just go to the contact us and a form will come up and it'll come to my attention. You can put it to Ken and I'll answer you the best way I can, okay? Tracy, you say, please say that website again. Very interested in arranging a tour through Egypt. Tracy, it's exactly as I'm saying it. egypttourismusa.com. You can send me an email and I'll send you the details of it. And if you'd like to have no obligation at all, if you'd like to have a one-on-one Zoom meeting to discuss what you should do while you're there, I'd be more than happy to talk with you. So send me an email and I will talk to you from that. Now, merhaba, hi, nice to see that, merhaba. I love Turkey. I love Turkey. I'm going to break this for just a moment. I was in Istanbul. Well, I got back a month today. And while I was there, I went to Göbekli Tepe. I actually wanted to see Göbekli Tepe. And of course, then I went to Urfa. What a fabulous, fabulous little town. Really, it was wonderful. Welcome to Saudi Arabia. I'm getting so many requests to come to Saudi. I think I'm going to have to really consider that. I really am. Travel, says Tara, to other places on earth is the best way to learn. Tara, I agree with you. My father, God rest his soul, used to say to study is to educate yourself to get money to travel. But to travel itself is complete education because you just learn so much from interacting with other people, don't you think? You've said it all. Travel to other places on earth is the best way to learn. And not do you just learn about the place, but you learn about the culture. And with that culture comes tolerance. And ultimately, you become a nicer person because you understand. And I think that is one of the greatest gifts that travel could give any human being. Now, I'm blessed enough to have a small nephew. He's just become 3 years old. And I do hope that I live long enough to take that little fellow on a trip somewhere in his life and say, Uncle Ken wants you to travel. This is what it's like. Go out and see the world. I hope he does. I really do. Lyd, your heart says I'm a wonderful person. You're very sweet, Lyd. Thank you. Yeah, I was born that way, I suppose. It's, I guess. What about Cameroon? Very good question. What about Cameroon? No, I think what you're saying is, why am I not focusing on Cameroon? Honestly, I've never been. I do not have an operator there. I will not get myself involved in anything more than what I'm doing at the moment. But if somebody said, hey, I want to go to Cameroon, I would find out who the right person is and say, phone this number or email this person or text this person, because that is the specialist in Cameroon. I would never fool you to believe that I know anything sufficient about Cameroon to be able to sell you a program or a tour or a journey to Cameroon. It's for no other reason than I've never been. That's quite honest. Do I want to go? Yeah, I want to go everywhere. There's not a place on earth that I don't. Well, there's no, I lie. There's one place I don't want to go to. You can figure out that for yourself. But I can't think of a place I wouldn't want to go. So maybe Cameroon. Maybe we'll do this again another time, and I'll say, hey, guess what? I can help you if you want to go to Cameroon. Thank you for whomever put up the website. Suddenly disappeared. EgyptTourismUSA.com. That's it. No, that's not it. It's incorrectly spelled. Let me put it up. I'm going to put it up here quickly. It's EgyptTourismUSA.com. Okay, there it is. I've just popped it up now. EgyptTourismUSA.com. Hi, B. Turgut. Hello, my friend. It's nice to have you with us. Nick, hello. Welcome. You want to go to Ethiopia? Ethiopia, I heard, just but in passing, that Ethiopia is considered the oldest country on earth. I don't know why, because I think I'm right. I'm not going to claim fame to this, but I think I'm right when I say that the Khoisan, the Bushman people that originated from the Khoisan people, originated in the Cape Town area of South Africa, and then started moving up to Egypt and then into Asia and so on. This is what I understand. So I don't understand how it makes Ethiopia the oldest country, but it is a stunning country. Ethiopian Airlines is a brilliant airline carrier. Addis Ababa, fabulous airport. Mole Airport is a fabulous airport. It's just a great country to visit. Lalibela, those churches that are carved down into the rock. It's insane. Who even did that? How did they even do that? There's no description. There's no understanding. So maybe it is the oldest country in the world. But if you go to Lalibela, that certainly is a place well worth visiting. No question of it. And if you do, then there's other things around there as well that should attract your attention, like Kenya and Tanzania, Rwanda for gorilla tracking, Uganda. They're kind of all in the same place, you know? Hey, brother, I should go to Bosnia. Why does that come up so often? Because and I'm not disputing the fact, yes, I should. Somebody invited me in one of my other chit-chat things that I do here on TikTok, and said, do come to Bosnia. And I guarantee you will enjoy it. So maybe. Tracy, thank you. There's a little smiley face there. Turks love you. You know what? Go back to Turkey and tell the Turks that I adore them. Such fabulous people, really. Just warm-hearted, kind, caring. Are you okay? Have you had enough? The attention to making you feel so special in Turkey, or Turkey, it's something quite unique. It really is. Even in a huge city like Istanbul, which if you didn't know, not you, but I'm talking to everybody else, Istanbul spans both continents. Yeah? Europe and then the Bosphorus, and then the Anatolian side, which is Asia. The Bosphorus is a strait of water that runs from, like, the Sea of Marmara, goes into the Bosphorus, which is a strait that goes up to the Black Sea, turn around through the Black Sea, down the Strait of the Bosphorus, into Sea of Marmara, into the Aegean Sea. I think there's one before that, but Aegean is the one I know. Finally into the Med, and then you turn right and you go to the Atlantic past the Strait of Gibraltar. That's the geography of where it is. Ethiopia, yes, I agree. An amazing place. It's just it is amazing. Travel to Singapore is interesting. Yeah, yeah, absolutely, it is. I have been to Singapore several times. Not in the last 10 years, though, and I know there's a lot of development that's taken place there. It's a very progressive city. I would go back to Singapore tomorrow. If Singapore Airlines would take me, I'd go. I wouldn't have a problem going. The one thing that did astonish me about Singapore was I spoke to a several years ago, I spoke to a Singaporean man and I said to him, this city is so exquisite and it's so beautiful, and the planning and this and that. And I was just raving about how I thought Singapore was just wonderful. And he said, yeah, that's because you're visiting. But to live here is very difficult. Why, said I? Why is it difficult? He said, because it's too sterile. And I thought that was an odd answer to give me. But yeah, I mean, too sterile? Is it really? You can't chew gum because you don't want to block the train doors, apparently. You can't just flick your cigarette butt across the sidewalk. That's a good thing. It's, I don't know. I think it's a good thing. Okay, so coming to the top now, you'll see I've typed in Egypt Tourism USA. You see my name, Ken, K-E-N-N. Thank you for the roses. Look, oh my goodness. Thank you for the roses and the love and more roses and more roses and more hearts. That's wonderful. Thank you very much indeed. That's very thoughtful of you. Hey, Adam. Nice to have you join us. Or if you're back for the first time, let's have a look. I'm trying to see if there's a way that I can answer any more questions. More roses. Where am I based, Eddie? I am in New York City in the United States. I was born and raised in, this confuses people. I was born and raised in East London. And you immediately think, oh, he's British. No, I'm not. East London is a city in the Republic of South Africa. And if you look at a map of the world, and you look at Greenwich Mean Time, the prime meridian of the world, and where London is located, to the west of Greenwich, East London is on a map to the east of London. So I guess that's how they came up with this startlingly amazing name, East London. That's when I was born. And then I was an asthmatic kid. You don't need to know this whole thing, but I was an asthmatic child, and my parents were told to take me to what was called the Highveld in South Africa, and that was the Johannesburg, Pretoria region. And so I grew up in Pretoria in South Africa, and then came to New York City. And I'm looking out of my window and I see the Empire State Building and Hudson Yards and the Hudson River and all kinds of things. It's nice. It's nice. So that's where I am, Eddie. Somebody, Kamel shared the live. Thank you. Shared the live again. Thank you for the roses. That's unbelievable. Somebody said pin it in your website. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means, but I'll try and find out, and I'll try and pin it to my website when I figure out what that means. Have you been to Tanzania? I have. I love Tanzania. I love the safari circuit starting in Arusha. Of the two next reserves south, my preference is Tarangire versus Manyara. I love Tarangire. It's just that red earth. There's something so about that soil of Africa, you know? And then, of course, into Serengeti, past for a period, and then to Olduvai Gorge, where the Leakeys did their work, and from there to the Ngorongoro crater. I couldn't leave without going to Zanzibar, so I went there as well. And then I've been back a couple of times, and I've brought travelers with. I've arranged groups, and I've taken passengers. I've taken groups of people on safari in Tanzania. It's a lovely destination. Hi, Eddie, from the sterile place with a grin. That was funny. That was funny. Thank you for the rose. Zanzibar, yes, I have been to Zanzibar. Mwanza, no, I have not. Nice one. Does that mean nice one? I think. Yeah. Okay. So, if anybody's got any questions that you think would help you with planning a journey or whatever the case may be, don't hesitate to pop it in here. I used to do rafting in Jinja in Uganda. Oh, that must have been amazing. That must have been amazing. It's the Nile, yes, but it's also it's well known for whitewater rafting because the rapids are really huge and strong and powerful there, I think. Yeah, I think so. Very wonderful. Yeah, yeah. I get it completely. It must be. If you like that kind of active adventure, adrenaline sort of spirit, that's what you've got to do. I mean, there's no question of it. Very wonderful. Yes, I agree. It must be. Would I do it? No. I have done some really crazy stuff, but let's just rephrase that. I would have done it 20 years ago, maybe, but not now. No, I wouldn't be able to. I wouldn't be able to. I just don't have the guts. I see that a lot of hearts. Thank you guys so much. That's wonderful of you. And roses, thank you. That's so sweet. Greetings, brave and honest man. All Muslims love and respect you. Thank you. Greetings to you, brother. Just, I love all Muslims. I mean, it really, let me put it this way in a funny little ways. What's not to love? I don't know. I'm going to divert from the story for a sec. I was sitting in Istanbul and I was sitting on the steps of what is known as the New Mosque, despite the fact that it was built in the 1600s and it's near the Egyptian Spice Bazaar. And I was just sitting, taking a break. And I was talking to my traveling companion. And I said, out of all my experiences in life with people and cultures and religions and so on, never once has a Muslim done anything to harm me or make me feel anything other than loved. Now, what I didn't realize is, as I was saying this, remember I'm sitting on the stairs now, there was a gentleman coming down the stairs. And he was elderly, so he was walking slowly. I didn't think for a moment that my voice was too loud, though I'm told that I am. He heard what I said. He got to the bottom of the stairs. There were only about 6 or 7 steps. He got to the bottom of the stairs and he turned around and he smiled at me and said, "Now go and tell everybody that." And so I did. And that's how I started my whole TikTok thing. I think that there has to be a lot more tolerance, patience, kindness. And I think that this dreadful, dreadful picture that is painted to make Muslims look like the evil force of the planet. Well, as long as I'm breathing, I will dispel that myth. Nothing to say. What's a great place to visit this time of the year with a young family? It depends on how far you want to go and how many there are in the family. And here's why I ask. I mean, the minute you ask me that question, I'm talking to you, Eddie. It depends on how young the family is, but one of the things that I used to promote a lot and still do is a safari, an African safari in Kenya. And those used to sell like hotcakes to parents, mom and dad, and young kids. When I say young kids, kids sort of the 12-year mark. People would say, but that's expensive. I'd rather just go to Disney World. No. If you take the price comparison to Disney World for a week for a family of, let's say, 4 or 6, and you compare that side by side with a safari in Kenya, it's a foregone conclusion. Kenya it should be. If you want some information on that, pop me a message. Go to the website I've put up, egypttourismusa.com. Fill out the contact us form, and just put my name at the top, and it'll come to me, and I'll give you some suggestions of what to do, and give me an idea what the age range of the young family. Are we talking 3, 4, 5-year-olds? Because that wouldn't work on a safari, and I wouldn't want you to think it could and mislead you in any way. So give me a little bit of information and I'll do my best to guide you. I really will. Shihan, respect, thank you. Respect right back to you. And the road, thank you. Thank you for showing so much love and kindness. Thank you for noticing, I think that if we cannot show love and kindness and respect to one another, irrespective of who we are and what we are and why we are, I don't necessarily want to live in a world like that. I would rather live in a world where one is respectful and kind, and even if, and I'll be as bold as to say this, even if I do not completely agree with your point of view, or you with mine for that matter, it doesn't mean that there should be any hatred or no love. We can choose to disagree on something, but it doesn't make us enemies. And that, I think, is very, very important. Maria, it says to me here, you became number 12 fan in the fan club. I didn't know there was a fan club. Can you tell that I'm new at. I can record and I can put a lot of stuff up, but I didn't know that there was a fan club. So welcome number 12 if you're number 12 in the fan club, and thank you for the heart. That's lovely. That's so nice. Respect for staying on the right side of humanity and the truth, and I do hope that we all can do that. It just takes so little to. There's no effort. There should be no effort. Let me just go back for a moment. I know this is about Egypt, and I've given you a lot of information about Egypt. And if you need more, go to Egypt Tourism USA and send me an email. I'd be very happy to guide you. Back to Turkey for a moment and Göbekli Tepe. After that, I went to the town of Urfa. And it was very, very obvious that I was the tourist in Urfa. Tall guy, dressed casually, but something, I don't know what, I don't know exactly what, but something just went to my heart and made me think, there's something special. I can't tell you what it is, but I think you get what I'm trying to say. It was, I don't know, it was just amazing. And I will say one last thing about Istanbul, and then I'll stop, because this is not about Istanbul. But I spent an extended time in Istanbul in 2024. And I became so familiar with the city and the people and the places, and where to go and what to do and how to do it. I was just my little Istanbul cart. I'd be up and down the metro and on the left teleferics and boats and off to Üsküdar and whatever. I just like I know the town so intimately. But I came back I came back to my home in Istanbul one evening, and I thought I have to write something about this magnificent place. And so I wrote something. I think it's about 4 pages long. It's somewhere in my computer system. But I called it My Heart's Home. And that's truly how I feel. My body may be here in New York or in South Africa or in, I don't know, San Francisco or sterile Singapore, whatever. But my heart is at home in Istanbul. And I'm crazy enough to say, I don't know if you know the Dr. David Livingstone, the British explorer from, I don't even know what century, but he discovered the Victoria Falls, or apparently he was the first man, a white man, to ever see the Victoria Falls. And he met Dr. Stanley. Well, anyway, the point of all of that is he was an explorer in Africa, finding all of these places. And when he died, his body was shipped back to England for burial, for appropriate burial. But his heart was buried on the island of Zanzibar and is obviously still there. And that was his wish. And that kind of would be my wish. You can bury me anywhere or cremate me or whatever you need to do with me. But please don't bury my heart in Istanbul, because that's where it belongs. That's how I feel. So, Bahrain, there's you too. Lots of love back to you. I want to come to Bahrain. I want to go pearl diving. I probably wouldn't be good at it, but I'd sure as hell give it a shot. I'm adventurous with things like that, even at this age. The Egyptian Rose, love your videos. Thank you so much. I'm glad you enjoy them. I uh, I hope I'm glad you find them. I'm glad you like them. I really am. Thank you for saying that. And another greeting from Singapore. Thank you for that. Beautifully said. My heart belongs to Singapore, to Istanbul. It does. I will never deny that. It absolutely does. And I can't tell you why. It's just a thing. It's a feeling you get, you know? You just get that this is it. I suppose it's kind of when you fall in love with someone, you know? You just walking through your life, minding your own business, and the next minute you look into the eyes of someone and say, oh my goodness, you're the one. You are the one. That's exactly how I feel about Istanbul. That's how my heart feels about Istanbul. You are the one for me. It is. Do I get depressed by all the wars in the world? Yeah, I do. Sadly, no, depression is not a sad thing. Sadly, mankind is fighting. And I don't understand the savagery and the brutality. I mean, once we're done here, I'm going to go home and I'm going to get into a warm bed and I'm going to have dinner and I'm going to maybe watch a little TV to come down off of this wonderful evening I'm sharing with you. While I know that there are other people on the other side of the world that are barely able to stand. They have no food. They have no aid. They have no help. They have nothing. That depresses me terribly. It does. To the point that I wish I could go to war-torn areas and just say, stop. For the love of God, stop already. Stop. I think I'm not going to go, I'm not going to get political because my politics are very odd. But if I look at the three people in the world right now who are causing the most heinous nonsense going on in the world, I think to myself, why the hell are you doing this? You're close to your 80s. Baba, you're going to be dead sooner than later. You're not even at half part of your life. You may have hours to live, and then generations behind you have to deal with putting the world back together again. Why are you doing this? What can you possibly hope to achieve? You're going to land up in a hole in the ground. So yes, I do. I do. Breaks my heart. You're right. Remember, John, I do give peace a chance, of course. Take that one step further. Get off this conversation we're having and go and listen again with intent to the words of Imagine. And consider that John was assassinated something like 40 years ago here in New York. He was a boy. He was a kid. with such incredible wisdom and such heartfelt emotion to pen imagine. And here we are, still fighting with one another. I don't know why. I don't know why. And so, yeah, it does depress me. I do get depressed, and I really wish it would stop. Let's have a look. It's very sad. I agree with you. You're all welcome to Bahrain with open arms. Thank you. That's terrific. You know what? As we go along, I have no doubt I will end up in Bahrain sooner than later. I've always had a fascination that I want to visit. So maybe I will. Amina, hello. How are you? I'm well. How are you? It's good to have you with us. Thank you so much for joining. I really appreciate you. I always ask the same question. Okay. I got you. It's sort of all over the show. Yeah. And you're right. Whoever, Adam, yes, we do all miss John Lennon so badly. Can you imagine, to coin a phrase, can you imagine what he would be like as a composer of words now, as an older man? And all of the music that we were cheated out of, and all of the lessons we were cheated out of, and all of the wisdom we were cheated out of because his life was snuffed out by some lunatic. But yes, John Lennon. And I still can't get over the fact that he was a kid. But listen, I'm way up there on the age scale, so anybody that is 10 years older than me is a kid. Yeah, I do miss him. I mean, I'm glad you're good. That's wonderful. Keep it up. That's so nice. And I agree. He would definitely be at the forefront of world peace. He would. Just one song that captivated all of us. And the irony, the absolute irony of it all to me is, I don't know if you guys watch the ball drop and all of that stuff that takes place on New Year's Eve here in Manhattan, in New York, when they they have entertainment. One of the songs they sing, it's become a kind of an anthem, is Imagine. And so here are these huge crowds of people all singing along to Imagine, or listening to Imagine, and bringing in the new year, and then going back to life as it was. Not imagining anything, just, it is what it is, who cares? Tough place. Love you, brother, from Belgium. Hey, Belgium, love you right back. Nice to have you with us. It's, what time is it there? It's 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2. It's about 2 o'clock in the morning now. Well, I'm glad I'm glad you're joining us. Thank you. I like Belgium. I don't know it very well. Of course, I've been to Brussels. I need to go to Bruges, and will soon. And Antwerpen, Antwerp, whatever. I would. I'd like to go back. I really would. Hey, Mohammed, I love you back, man. Nice to see you. Nice to have you with us. Parveen, I'm in New York City in the United States of America, on the island of Manhattan. When I look out of my window from where I'm sitting now, I see the Empire State Building all lit up and Hudson Yards and this, that, and the next thing. It's a nice place, but it's sometimes it's too much. It just gets a lot too much. Um, Amina loved the topic tonight. Well, we've just gone right off the topic, to be honest. But it was all about Egypt, and it was all about what to do, how to do, where to go, what to see, and so on for travelers going to Egypt. And I think everybody should go to Egypt because it's one hell of a country. It really, really is nice. I see you in Brussels, yes. Nice town. I enjoyed that. Here's something that'll date me. Um, oh God, I flew from Johannesburg to Brussels on a daylight flight that operated once weekly through Kinshasa on Sabina. Do you remember Sabina? That gave my edge away. Actually, I remember, you know what else I remember about that? You talk about wars and all of this genocide and this, that, the next thing. I remember that we landed the tech stop on the way to Brussels was in Kinshasa. And until that point, the flight was relatively empty. There was not much traffic from Johannesburg to Kinshasa. But the next minute, when we got to Kinshasa, there were just lines and lines and lines of of missionaries getting onto the flight to get back to Brussels. It was, I'll never forget that. I'll never forget that. 1:45, Parveen, shouldn't you be in bed? What? Shouldn't you be sleeping? That's, well, unless you're off tomorrow. I mean, is it my business? Of course it's not. I'm just having fun with you, Parveen. I think that humanity has got a chance at all the wars and hatred. I do. Provided, I said something the other day on TikTok. I made a little story about it. And I said, that the internet and the social media is such a fantastic tool. It's amazing. Look at us. I mean, come on. Bahrain, London, Brussels, Amina in the UK, people from Egypt, people all over this show. We're having Singapore, we're having a conversation as though we're all sitting in the same living room. Now imagine if all of the conversations that were being had were positive. Get out there, be your best, don't be an idiot to someone, help people as you go along, give, expect nothing in return, and just be a good person, for God's sake. It's not that difficult. It really is not that difficult. So I honestly do think that humanity does have a chance. But if we all get into little circles like we are this evening, and that we give one another a chance. So because you don't know me, I don't know you, but we could sit down and have a whole conversation. And out of, I don't know, let's say 10 points or 10 topics, we could agree on 7 and say, yeah, no, listen, we're on the same page completely. And on 3, we could disagree. But it does not mean that we have to deface or hate one another. Or say, oh, you're an idiot because my point is, no, my point is not right. Listening, paying attention. I think that's very, very, very important. So I do think that humanity has got a chance, but we all need to be kinder to one another, giving, seeking absolutely nothing in return. And then humanity could have a chance. And understanding. And I'll just, now you've got me going. I'll toss a little education in there too, because I'm busy on a series. No, I don't want to call it a series, because it's not. And I'm not a scholar of theology by any means. Add to that I was born and baptized as a Christian, a religion I do not follow. But I have become so involved. You heard me say where I work in Morocco, Egypt, Jordan, Oman, Turkey, where there's a high density of Muslim people practicing Islam. So I have become very involved, if I could put it that way. And then I wondered to myself, why on earth is the world throwing stones at Muslims? The most peaceful people on God's earth, the most peaceful, respectful people. Where did it go wrong? Where did the education snap in half? And let's paint a whole new picture to frighten and terrorize everybody into believing that. All right, I've got to get back on track here, otherwise I'm just going to fly off for another hour. But I think, honestly, that we do have a chance, but we need to stick together. We do. If I do this again, I hope you'll join me. I do. And I know, and actually, you know what? I will do this again, and it won't be travel related. It will be just, hey, people, let's sit down and have a decent, truthful, open dialogue about life, about where we are, what we're doing, how we're doing it, why are we doing it, and how we can better ourselves. And I hope I really, really, really hope you'll join me. I think we should do that. I do. Good morning from Italy. Hello, Italy. What is 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3? What time are you up already? Where in Italy? I love Italy, by the way. Here's a story I'm going to tell you. Italy, are you still here? If you are, give me some kind of sign. Just say Italy is still here. I want to tell you a story about Italy that I think you will find very, very emotional. Parveen, you'd like to visit someday? Yep. I understand. It's a big honor having you tonight. Love you so much. We're so proud of you, free, brave man. Thank you. That's very thoughtful. I'm not that brave. I hear that often, that you're so brave, you're so brave. No, I don't think I am. I just think I've got a mouth and I have an ounce of common sense in my head, and I'm going to just say it the way I say it. And if you don't like it, I don't care. But I cannot, and I will not ever condone violence, wars, hatred. I won't. I just never will. And I think if you were around where I said, when I was saying where I was born and raised in South Africa, I had to go to the South African Defence Force for 1 year. So I'm a trained military soldier. And while I wouldn't even know which way to start right now, but one thing I learned, and that was reflex. And that's still with me today. I say to people, don't give me a fright, because if you do, I will spin around and bash you. And I don't want to do that. But I walk around the streets in New York and I see these little pockets of conflict going on with people. And a friend of mine just will look at me and say, don't get involved. Step away. Because he knows that I'll go and get right in the middle of it all and start fighting with everyone and push everybody away and say, stop it. Stop fighting with it. I saw it with some young kids and some young Asian kids who were clearly on vacation. And the young American kids were having a go at the Asian kids. And I thought, oh, hell no, not on my watch. We're not going to do that. But I was told to shut my mouth and sit down. So I did. It was called 9/11. It was called 9/11. That's a day that I will never forget because I was living in a place called Jersey City, which is right across from the World Trade Center. And I saw that whole thing take place from beginning to end, that whole day. You know, by the time that the second tower had collapsed, I was so mentally and physically exhausted. I went and I lay down on my bed and took a nap, and I just went into this deep sleep. And I woke up and I thought to myself, what a godforsaken dream did I just have? What the hell's going on in my head, dreaming such horrible stuff? And I sat up and I looked out of my window and the towers were gone. Yeah, that wasn't nice. It wasn't... Jason Bourne. Good to see you, Jason. Dialogues can only happen if people are honest, and I agree with you. We need to be honest. We really do. We do need to be honest with one another. Lying gets you nowhere, and it's pointless. And cheating gets you nowhere, because that's also pointless. Amadou, hi. That sounds like you may be from West Africa. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think maybe you are. Jason, I agree. Let's all be good people. Let's just all be good people. Salam alaikum. Good to see you again this evening. Peace be with you. Isa joined. You guys, it's 8:59. And you have been so gracious, giving me so much of your time and so much of your love. I'm actually quite astonished, I will add, and thankful. And so, to round it all up, I'll remind you that while we got way off course, and I like that, by the way. I love dialogue. It's important. But anyway, having said that, tonight was about Egypt and why you should go and where you should go as a traveler. Don't be a tourist. Don't be an influencer. Be a real traveler. Take time. If you need any help, contact me. I've told you enough times now, EgyptTourismUSA.com. There's a contact us form. Send me messages if you need me. I will be there to help you. And you know how to find me on TikTok anyway by now, no? Yeah, I think you do. So, direct message me if you need me. Good to see you. Well, thank you. A good evening to you. as well. Thank you for your time. Peace be with you, Birdman. I really appreciate you too. Hats off to you. Jason, you're very kind. Jason Bourne, thank you. So, on that note, I'm going to say good night. I'm going to wish you all a wonderful week ahead. I'm going to ask you to go out there and be kind to people around you. It doesn't cost a damn thing, and you know it. And above all, I'm going to say thank you for spending this time with me. This was wonderful. Good night from Singapore. Lovely, lovely to have you. It's nice. I'm not going to stop unless I say goodbye. I love you. I respect you. I will always be there for you. You know how to get a hold of me. Don't be a stranger. God bless you and have a good week. Good night.